James Strebel.
What's up?
How are you?
Well, doing all right. Doing pretty good. Kind of a little glad that I have a week off from watching Kentucky football. It's been one of those seasons where it's been exhausting, an emotional roller coaster, and not in a good way. So it's nice just to know that Saturday I can just chill, no anxiety, nothing like that.
No anxiety.
No anxiety.
Yeah.
At least not from that end.
James Strebel, Kevin Hale here. It's another round of shots. It's a round of sports shots soon to follow. Our sports show live every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. What is that? 4 Aloha time?
Well, 12 Pacific.
12. No, 6.
No, 6. What am I talking about?
That's
It's been
right.
a long. I'll tell you, it's been a long day. It's been one of those days where it's like
I'll do the play-by-play. You add that color, baby.
Yeah. The time change. It's dark early. I'm in a funk.
All right. Adding our brothers from another mother.
Speaking of color,
we're adding it. Equal opportunity here, guys. We got Justin Jeffries, Terry Brown, who have been staples of the show for the last several weeks, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon because clearly they want to hang out with us, James.
Absolutely.
We get the message loud and clear. Max Godby was supposed to join us. He had something come up, and we hopefully will see him next week. James, we touched on the Georgia game. At 9:20, we're going to have some guests. J.A.'s Michele Brown from Rockin' Kentucky Blue podcast. We were on there last Thursday, made our predictions. They made their predictions. I think we were a little closer to the predictions than they were. We had a little bit of a Twitter, sparring, if you will. Yeah, it's all good. They're going to come on and, they're going to talk to us. We're going to kind of follow up that conversation, and Justin and Terry can help moderate.
Right.
I know it does. It will look like it's 4 against 2. Probably will be because I think these guys will side with us. But
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, Justin, what's new with you, real quick?
Oh well, I don't look like a homeless.
Look at you. The hair. Not the hair of the head.
James, you guys haven't seen me this clean all season.
No, I didn't want to say anything because I was like, I don't make him feel bad and be like, what happened to you? You look better than you did.
It's true.
James, we said at the beginning of the show, it's not bad or good if it's true. You can just say it.
Exactly.
True. Yeah.
But no, emotionally exhausted. James hit all the nails on the head. I mean, God bless. Luckily, I had to shave this down because all my grays between having 3 women at the house, a dog with no balls, and shitty Kentucky football. I had all kinds of grays just all in my head. So in my dog. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the week off. Justin Palooza next Saturday. James, I told you about that Saturday.
Hell yeah.
So that should be good, and we'll see what happens. I'm ready. I'm excited about this. I want to hear the back and forth. I've heard a lot about this, and I kind of watched the Twitter battle. I'm excited.
It's allowed. The 4 of us, including Matt, whoever, we shouldn't agree on everything.
Exactly.
And we, if one of us is wrong, we're going to call each other out, keep us honest. Terry, what are you doing over there? Swapping phones?
How do you do that?
I don't know. That was a magic trick.
Yeah. If he told us, he'd have to.
You can't
see Nation. What's up, Terry?
Man, I'm enjoying life, man.
Are you?
I am. I'm back in my condo. I've let Mama B kind of do her thing, so I'm back in the old condo,
nice.
Enjoying life.
The bachelor pad for the time being. I know.
Yeah, man. Man, they've already got snow in Iowa, so I'm rethinking a lot of things right now. So.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, Lord. Snow. All right. Saturday, guys. Georgia rolls into the Commonwealth at Kroger Field. And, again, last week, James and I had emphatically picked Georgia to win the game. It was 14-3, but start with you, James. It was very disappointing offensive game. The problems actually seem to have exaggerated a little more from the previous week. So start with you. Let's try to be nice right away. Give me the good from the Georgia game.
Defense. The defense was really good again, only allowing 14 points against Georgia. And over the last few games, they've been pretty much lights out. Really dating back since Mississippi State. Even though they lost at Missouri, that wasn't on the defense. They did all they could outside of getting turnovers to limit Missouri and give the offense a chance. So for me, the good was the defense. I don't have any complaints on that side of the ball. 2 more turnovers. Interception for Kelvin Josephs and Phil Hoskins, get a big man interception, so that was cool. But that to me was good, and I'm happy to see at least that side of the ball continue to live up to the hype.
Good take, Justin. Go.
The good for me, Chris Rodriguez. He had over 100 yards rushing, on a stout Georgia defense. There was any bright point for the Kentucky offense, it was his name started with a C and his last name started with an R. He was a monster, just the way that he runs. And then, to piggyback off of James, the defense has been, I won't call them spectacular, but in spurts, and especially the last, 3.5 games, I'd say, the defense has been really impressive. I don't think Georgia's offense with the quarterback was all of that. I think they're very generic, very pedestrian. But they did what they needed to do. If you hold Georgia to 14 points, you should be able to win the ball game. But when you have such a terrible offense like we do, that's just not the case. So that was my good.
All right, Terry, finish it. The good.
Well, they took the 2 best points from Saturday. I'll say the weather was nice, but no, seriously. Yeah. Defensively, I was concerned when Georgia marched down that first drive with 0 negative plays, just run. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a long day. We have seen this before. But after that, giving up just 7 points the rest of the way, you would think, looking at the numbers, that the game was more competitive. Since you made me go last, I'm going to go say kind of my negative is, if you look at the numbers, 100-yard rusher, holding Georgia to 14 points, you're thinking Kentucky had a shot. And even though it was a 2-possession game, I never really thought they were in the game.
Yeah. Nice little segue. James, I'll go with you. The bad.
Oh, well, I'm going to try to limit it to one thing at a time. Yeah. Just again, the receivers for Kentucky are just bad. They're bad. We were talking about in the post-game show, Justin, and how they, outside of Josh Ali, they just cannot create any separation. You see them running down the field, and the defensive backs are right there with them. I don't know if it's a speed thing, a route running thing, an athletic thing, or I don't know what it is, but they just cannot get open at all. They to me are maybe not 1A of the problem, but certainly 1B. The wide receivers were just downright bad again.
Justin, go.
D, all the above besides the defense. Coaching, offensive play calling, quarterback play was it was just
Stoops said that there were plays called for him to throw the ball downfield.
Yes, and I'm also supposed to be 250 pounds. Come on, yeah, it might be that way, but it's not happening right now. Yeah, I don't care if there are plays called. That's to piggyback off of James. Obviously, our dudes weren't getting it done against Georgia's dudes. Georgia's dudes were that much better than ours, and just offensively, it's just a a shit show. It is just so. I would much rather watch my daughter play Roblox than I would watch our offense. It's that
That
bad.
could probably be arranged. Just let's aim the camera to that spot on the floor, get her over there.
Yeah, like Olivia. Yeah, you want to see? Look, she does. But
yeah, she's like, get that camera off of me.
Exactly. But yes, it's just the offense, just in general. I didn't think the quarterback play was any better with Gatewood than it was with Terry Wilson.
Was it because he wasn't good, or was the scheme, the offense they were trying to run with him?
You can't tell because it's the same generic ass stuff. I mean, it's you can't really tell. I mean, does he have a big arm? Yeah, he's got a big arm. You can tell he zips it, but I've seen Terry throw some balls this year that were phenomenal.
Right.
It's just just to put it all and wrap it up and put a bow on it. Everything but the defense.
Everything but the defense. All right, James, I'm going to start with you. The ugly.
The ugly is the 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and you're only down by 11, right?
Thank you for bringing that up.
The game is right there. Like it's not out of the realm of possibility that you have a chance to beat Georgia. You score quick, your defense has been stout, you get the ball back, score again. And just watching Joey Gatewood, not his fault, looking over to the sidelines, looking back, looking over to the sidelines again, as time is just ticking
play
off
clock, everything.
And Jordan Rogers for the SEC Network is losing his mind, going, there is no urgency. They need to snap the ball. What is going on? Multiple times, no urgency. And I'm like, are we trying to win this game, or are we trying just to beat the spread? Because I'm convinced that Mark Stoops in the end of that game had no intention of winning it. None at all. He'd rather lose 14-3 than have a turnover and lose 21-3. I'm convinced of it because it would make his defense look bad. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I'm pretty sure what I know what the problem is with Kentucky's offense, and it ain't Eddie Gran.
Terry, go. The ugly.
I mean, the offense. Last year, we may or may not have had receivers, but we figured out how to be dynamic offensively.
They were great blockers.
Right. But what I always talk about on my podcast, Cats Talk Wednesday, you can catch us on Wednesday nights, is whatever your team is, you've got to have something that you can hang your hat on. Justin could probably speak to this more than I can, but when you're at every level, it is what is it that you do well? And right now, there's nothing they do offensively that you're like, besides give it to Rodriguez, which we don't do enough. It's what is it that you do? At least with Hal Mumby, we're like, we may lose 50-30, but we're going to score 30 points and we're going to throw the ball all over the field. Or if you're going to run the ball like we did last year, we're going to be one-dimensional, but you can't stop it. This year, they're so vanilla. I had to laugh. One of the guys on the SEC Network said, Eddie Gran's thick playbook, and I'm like, look, I've been watching this offense for 4 or 5 years, and it's almost like USC and OJ Simpson, student body right, student body left.
Right.
You can do that if you've got the dudes, but we don't have the dudes to do whatever it is you're trying to do. So.
And speaking of OJ, dead body left, dead body right.
I'm gonna tell you something. My fiance is Caucasian. I do not make OJ Simpson jokes. They don't fly. They don't fly.
Wow. That was the line of the
podcast. Just shut it down. We're done.
I love it. Again, just watching that game, and James, to your point, my take was that the mindset from the get-go was to stay in the game. I don't think I think actually Stoops was like you and I last Thursday. We knew Georgia was going to win, so it was like conservative play calling in the fourth quarter, like it was at the first quarter and the second quarter.
What's infuriating to me is like, okay, you get this brand new quarterback out there that you've only seen a few times before that, and you have a chance as an offensive coordinator, as an offensive team, to do something against Georgia that they are not expecting, or to catch them off guard, because we know how good the defense is, to try something new, to get creative with the ball, with the play calling, try to go downfield, score, do something. And they did nothing. Nothing changed. And Justin hit on it just a few minutes ago. There ain't nothing that Joey Gatewood did that Terry Wilson wasn't doing already. He had very similar numbers to Terry Wilson. I mean, it was just like, you're given a golden opportunity to perhaps beat the number 5 team in the country, and you don't want anything to do with it. You want absolutely nothing to do with it. So again, to me, I feel like this is the kind of offense that Mark Stoops wants. And the reason why he's kept Eddie Grant around so long is because Eddie Grant's not going to buck up to him and fight back. Neil Brown, Shannon Dawson, both had better offenses through the air, especially, than what we're seeing right now. Eddie Grant, when he was at Cincinnati, was averaging like 303 passing yards per game, scoring big numbers. They went vertical. As soon as he gets to Kentucky, that disappears. Why? What changed other than your head coach wants to run a system where his defense doesn't have to be on the field at all? He don't want to take any chances. He don't want to turn the ball over at all. And unless you've got Benny Snell that can just turn out the clock over and over and over and over and over again, this brand of offense ain't working in the SEC. I'm telling you right now, if Nick Saban can figure out that running 3 yards in a cloud of dust ain't doing it in modern football, Stoops better figure it out real quick, because there's nobody in the SEC that's like, you know what, I think we need to transition back that slow-ass running offense that was popular in Notre Dame in 1958. That sounds great. No, they want to throw the ball around. They want to
bring out the leather helmets too.
Yeah, and they want it to be an exciting product. And it, Stoops has got to evolve, or this program's not going anywhere.
Terry, piggyback on that.
Yeah, but it's a weird flux to have a conversation, which I think is legitimate, saying, is Stoops holding the program back when you look at his resume and what he's done? It's fair. It's fair to say, is he holding it back? It's also fair to say he kind of brought it, from the depths of hell.
Absolutely.
So it's a weird kind of juxtaposition. And I see fans have this discussion online. Like, you're appreciative, but you're like, my goodness, we have to do better against Georgia. Like, it's just a weird place to be in. And to James's point, Alabama, Nick Saban said you can't win 20-13 anymore. Those days are gone. And if Alabama can't do it with the studs they have, then Kentucky's got to move in a different direction. And it's all about risk avoidance. I don't want to say that. I don't want to take that leap with James and say, Stoops wasn't trying to win. I'm not going to get in. But
it sure looked like it.
But you can get to the point where risk avoidance looks like that.
Yeah.
Like, in your daily life, you can be too safe to where you're just stagnant. So I think to that point, Stoops says you got to take chances. The Bill Curry teams took chances.
Especially in the fourth quarter when you still had time. There was no freaking sense of urgency in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
zero.
And if you're going to throw deep bombs and Georgia's going to get intercepted, they're the number 5 team in the country, okay? You kind of get a pass for that. But you got to show something. You've got to call plays where your players get excited, where people can't say, like we're legitimately saying, was Stoops even trying to win?
Right. And if you look at it, going back to the Benny days and the Boom days and even JoJo, stuff like that, they had, Benny was a transcendent player. Boom was an explosive player. We had players like that, and we could make that move to, even if we were just running those vanilla ass plays last year with Lynn Bowden, even when we were just running those, those stagnant, stale ass plays, there was always a possibility to bust one long. And that's how we used, the big plays for us last year, and the big plays with Benny and the big plays with Boom. You never knew it. We could run that same play 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 times, and it might go 4-3, 20-50, 4-3, 20-50. You just never knew, because we had dudes and players, to be able to make that happen. And like with this year, I think our offensive line is phenomenal. I think it is one of the best offensive lines in the country. But I feel like we're just we're just wasting it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a waste. You know, it's what's sitting in my toilet right now. It's poo. It's terrible. I mean, why you have these dudes? You have the big blue wall to where they are. I've been watching. They're mauling guys, but you're putting them in bad situations because you can't. There is no threat down the field, so they're stacking 9, 10, 12, 650, 5,000, however many you want in the box. And I don't care if you have 6 big blue walls, you can't block that. Right. That's the issue. And you don't have that transcendent, that explosive player like a Benny, like a Lynn Bowden, like a Boom to make those cuts, make those reads. That some of the, I won't call them average, but run of the muck running backs, which I think we got. Rodriguez is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but
he still put up.
He's not going to be that guy that's going to bust one, 50, 75.
Yeah. Okay. It is the time of the show. I got one of them here, bringing her on. Michele Brown's with us. Michele, hey.
Hey, did you email the link to Jay? He asked you to email him.
I did. I didn't see that message. I thought, okay.
He could have emailed it to himself, but I email myself stuff all the time.
No, I would say, how did I say? Oh, I sent it on Twitter. Michele, welcome. I'll email him now, but in the interim, tell us real quick about your podcast.
Well, along with the missing Jay Hayes, we do Rockin' Kentucky Blue, which you might guess from the name that we center around UK athletics, but we do cover other sports. And to have started it like maybe 4 weeks prior to the pandemic setting in, we're very pleased to have survived for 40 episodes, considering that 30 of them were without sports. So let's do a sports podcast with no sports. And we managed to fill an hour at least of sports talk every week. I was proud of that accomplishment.
I sent the email to Jay. Hopefully he'll get it and get on here.
He should be. We just got off Girls Beer Sports. We were
that's right. You did
tonight.
That.
Yeah,
you did that. All right. Hopefully that all went good. I'll go and get the ball started. We were on James and I were on your podcast last Thursday. Mm-hmm. We got to the point of the show where we were making our predictions. It was very clear. James and I were emphatic. Kentucky was not going to win that game. I mean, we put up, we had a big point, a margin of victory for Georgia. Mm-hmm. Didn't happen. Is he? Oh, there he is. Jay, what's up, man?
What's up? Let me come in with this. We were wrong. We were wrong.
Well, I guess it was a combination because James and I, like I said, we were very emphatic. We put out a big prediction margin for Georgia. It didn't happen that way, but they did win. Right. Now I'm going to start with you, Michele, because both of you all on your show both predicted Kentucky would win. Straight out, flat out. No points or anything, but Kentucky win. I got to ask right now, this is, you all are guests on our show, and Justin and Terry are kind of going to moderate this for us, even, because it's kind of
that's not fair.
Really. Well, they'll chime in too. But what was the mindset, Michele, on why Kentucky was going to win?
Well, I think I was pretty clear about it. I said I thought that our defense was going to shore up when they have a challenge, that they seem to rise to the occasion, and quite frankly, they did. And I said, if they got a couple of turnovers, I was actually thinking those turnovers go into the end zone. Had the 2 interceptions ended up in there, we're having a different discussion.
So is it,
so I think that it was actually a very, we were and you just said a few minutes ago, that coming into the fourth quarter, we were still in the game. And based on your quote unquote facts, which by the way, your facts were nothing more than the same amount of information that we have, and they're your feelings about the same information. You felt there was going to be this big Georgia blowout that did not happen. I felt that we had a fighting chance to win the game, and we did.
You felt that Kentucky was going to score more points than Georgia, and to me that was That was crazy.
And you felt Georgia was going to score more points than Georgia scored by a whole lot.
Well, I think James and I are probably a little closer to that than the other way around. Now, let me hold that thought. Now, Jay, you jump in. What was your mindset? Why did you pick?
Georgia's offense is garbage. Their defense is great. Kentucky's defense is great. So, and I did come with a fan prediction. I mean, there's no denying that. I mean, maybe I was in my feelings, fan feelings, so to speak. But Kentucky's defense, man, they've showed up and they did that. And I'd like to say, both of you guys thought Kentucky could win this game. You thought, even though you predicted it, Kevin was doing laundry. That's why he wasn't tweeting during the game. James, post game, he thought Kentucky could win. You guys thought Kentucky could win. So it's not, our predictions are more right. The question is, who was more right in their predictions, even though our predictions were to win?
I'm not sure, James, how they're getting that. I thought Kentucky would win. I don't think I ever. No, I don't.
You were watching it.
The game was on, but at the same time, I took the dog out probably 3 times during the 3 hours too. So, go ahead, Jay.
It was clear that Georgia had better players in very specific positions. Defensively, Kentucky played extremely well. We all agreed on that.
Yep.
But the problem was, and still is that I have no confidence in the offense to score enough points to beat anybody outside of Vanderbilt. I mean, that's how I feel about the rest of the season. I think they win one more game. I hope I'm wrong, but just from what I've seen offensively, there was nothing there that led me to believe that Kentucky was going to win that game. I thought that Georgia's defense, even if there was turnovers, then they did commit 2 of them, that their defense would be able to stop our offense at just about every turn, and that's exactly what happened. The most frustrating thing to me is Kentucky didn't give themselves a chance at the end, as you all heard me saying, previously. They did not give themselves a chance at the end.
Taking their time.
That at all.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Kentucky did, in fact, have a chance to win this game. Are we in agreement in that?
No, I'm agreeing with that. Yeah, they had a chance to win that game, and they didn't. They didn't because A, their offense isn't any good, and B, they have an offensive coaching staff that is terrified to take a chance in any situation.
And I'd like to add too that Joey Gatewood did miss some open receivers downfield. I mean, you can go back and watch. He just misreads. He handed the ball off and got the running back smashed a couple of times when he should have held on to the ball and went. He would have been, maybe 10, 15 yards. He runs slow. So it is what it is. But I don't think it was a quarterback problem. Our offensive line is great. Our defense deserves more, I think.
Absolutely they deserve more than what they're getting right now.
But I do believe before the game and during the game that Kentucky had a chance to win.
No, I think you're right about that. I do think that they did have a chance to win. And as out of left field as that sounds to me now than it did last week,
right?
I'm still pissed off because I think our staff failed our players. 100% our staff failed our players. They've been
absolutely
failing our players.
Multiple weeks now.
For weeks.
Multiple weeks now.
Yeah. And for them to not have it figured out what exactly, and I've talked about this before, and Justin, Terry, you've heard me on this show, other shows talk about how our coaching staff doesn't look like they understand what's going on, who to play, when to play them, how much to get this guy the ball, how much to get that guy the ball, what's your strengths, what's your weaknesses. Offensively, they're lost. They're completely lost. And that bleeds over into some of what our players do as well. So, I don't know. Something's got to give at some point because I can't listen to Vince Marrow and Mark Stoops and everybody in the off season talk that talk and not walk the walk and continue to say how we're not Kentucky football anymore. And then when you get beat by Georgia in such a embarrassing fashion, after the game say, well, they're just that much better than us, was what Coach Stoops was saying. It's like, no, bro, that's not what you tell us. That's not what you say on Twitter. That's not Yahtzee. That ain't all that. No, we expect better than this. And I think that they are not living up to their hype or their promises.
Right.
Michelle,
I mean,
well, go ahead.
I agree totally. But Kevin during the game was washing laundry. No tweeting. You
Actually,
thought they
you
were going to
probably
win.
can go back. I really don't tweet much during the games. I'll like and retweet. Kind of not my thing. But yeah, the game. Unlike you, James, I never thought we would score more points than Georgia. Period.
I didn't think. I mean, it's the. Here's the thing.
How do you not think that Georgia's offense is garbage?
They had a chance.
Ours is garbager. I mean,
true, but our defense is held up their end. I mean,
Georgia's defense is top rated. I'm just looking at what has happened during this season. We are in a state of disarray offensively. Defense, we all agree, can line up against any team and play, for the most part, play head to head with them. Now, Missouri, the defense was on the field for, 3/4 of the game? I mean, it's a lot.
I'm pretty sure they were on the field for 7 quarters.
Exactly.
All of 2020. They were on there for all of 2020.
Right. True.
Let me get James and Justin in here. Start with you, Justin. You've heard our takes. I mean, did you think Kentucky before the game had the chance to win?
So, as a former player, you understand some of the games. You go through the schedule, and you're like, okay, we have a chance here, we have a chance here, we have a chance here. Man, that one's going to be a long shot. Hell no. If we're lucky, we get beat by 20, not 40, a la Alabama. Did I think Kentucky had a chance to win? Yeah, and I try to all of my analysis I try to make without the player hat on and without the fan hat on, just to be completely 100. No, I did not think whatsoever that we had a shot. I'm surprised it was what it was, to be honest with you. And you always hit the nail on the head. As good as our defense is as bad as our offense is. Yeah. And I mean, there's no way against that Georgia defense that we were going to put up. I'm surprised we got 3, and I'm being completely honest. I'm surprised.
He did say that.
Yeah, I was expecting Ruffalo to miss the kick, to be honest with you. My roommate was the kicker. I have feelings for the kickers. But even as bad as Georgia's offense is, they still put up 24, 25 points against Alabama. And just looking at that, they were in the game with Alabama in the first half. Right. So just taking that little snippet right there of their season made me think, hell, if we can hold them to 21 and then hope we score 10, I'm in good shape. Just trying to mediate it a little bit there. But no, I didn't think there was any chance.
Terry, final thought for that.
What did I think that?
Yeah, Kentucky but heading into the game before, did you think they had a chance to win?
No, because offensively, if you can't string together 2 to 3 first downs in a row, you're not going to score any points. And as good as the defense is, asking them to get 2 or 3 turnovers and take them to the house every week for your team to win, that's not sustainable. Now, when the game started, I was pleasantly surprised, but beforehand, especially with Georgia's first drive, I was like, okay, this is going to be one of those. But I hate to say it because I'm a Kentucky fan, but I just didn't think they were going to have it against Georgia.
Mm. Everyone keeps saying the offense, but Joey Gatewood was the unknown. No one had seen him yet. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yes, it turns out that our offense was garbage, but like I believe James said, Joey Gatewood was the unknown. What if he came in and didn't miss those guys? That was set. I know one play, the guy was wide open. That was a touchdown. Maybe the block kick was a touchdown. It's a whole different game. The unknown Joey Gatewood. I mean,
I agree. My
so,
grandfather used to always say, if a frog had wings, he wouldn't bump his ass.
True that.
I say that when I play golf all the time.
Right. So I agree.
Michelle, moving forward, where do we go from here? Where does the offense go from here?
That's a good question because I keep tumbling this thing over in my head. Is it, like what Eddie Gran's had to do the last 3 seasons, where he's had to, here's my plan, and then personnel drastically changes, and on the fly, he rebuilds something that works. And kept it so like, dude, build something. But then you wonder, because you hear the talking, is Stoops overriding some of the calls that are being made? And then the players, do I listen to my coordinator who's worked with me all week, or like, oh, no, head coach just sent this in. So like, that would be confusing if they're not all on the same page. I think first off, the coaching staff needs to be in agreement with one another what the actual strategy is. What is our plan? And from Eddie Graham's perspective, you hired me to do a job, either let me do it or
let me out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
quit putting me in a position to take abuse from everybody, saying that I'm crap when actually I've got all these great plans, and you're sitting there axing them at the last second because you want to be smash mouth football. And that's fine. There's a place for smash mouth football, and you have to have a strong, established running game to have a fighting chance to open up your passing lanes. That's football 101. We all know that. Okay, we've got the running game part. Let him pass. I mean,
James,
did you see Lamar Thomas's tweet this week?
Oh yeah.
And what was it?
Well, that was the thing. Basically, he's like, you've gone through 3 wide receiver coaches in very few years, and you still have the same problem. It's not the position. You don't let them practice receiving. You spend all of your practice time doing bubble screens and blocking.
Is that accurate? Is that really accurate? Their practices are like that? Really?
That's what Lamar Thomas said. I don't know. I've never been to any of their practice, but he tweeted that out yesterday, I believe. Yeah, he's very critical. Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, like, I've talked to Lamar. Lamar's always pretty much an upfront guy. I don't think he ever like threw people under the bus for maybe the entire Louisville football team after he left, but that's but that's justified. Yeah, that was deserved. But I mean, like I think he was very gracious when he was let go, and he's pretty, for the most part, kept his mouth shut about it. But I think, after a while, he's got a point.
Jay, Graham, he's
departing? He's an offensive genius, whether we like it or not. He is. The last 2 seasons have shown that. Where do we go from here? I say Bo Allen, then we go down to Tuscaloosa and kick Alabama's ass. What do you think? What do you think? I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, me too. Hey, guys, it's fun.
No, I mean,
Put Gunner in.
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe a quarterback change. Maybe listen to outside people like Thomas, saying this is what you need to do. I don't know. Take this bye week and work on your offense. Get the quarterback, whoever that's going to be. I will say Terry Wilson is gone, so he's got these few games left. He's not coming back, so I think it'll be his.
We know that for sure.
No, he ain't coming back.
Well, no, he was on the sideline.
He's talking about after the season. He's not coming back, right, Jay?
Right. So he's not coming back next year, regardless of everything they've put in place. So is Terry Wilson coming back? I don't know. So I just think the quarterback and the offense need to get on the same page.
For the record, did Joey start James Saturday because Terry was hurt, or did he start to replace to go with the other guy?
Man, there's just a lot of speculation.
Where I'm going is that if Terry heals up, is it his job to take back?
Yeah. He's not coming back.
I don't think so. I think
this year. You don't think we see Terry anymore this year?
I think it's Joey Gatewood going forward. I don't think we see Terry Wilson start another game. He might play in games, but he's not starting.
Okay.
I kind of think Terry's mama said, "No, son, sit out this week and show your coach that the problem's not you."
And it worked.
Right.
And it worked. I hope he doesn't leave the team. Let me be honest. Right. I hope he does not leave the team, because I've heard everything that I've heard he's great in the locker room. He's great with all his players. And I asked Big Blue Drew on Saturday if he saw any kind of difference in morale with the offense, going from Gatewood or from Terry to Gatewood, and he said it was the same old thing, which leads me to believe that obviously that's got to be coaching. Now, if we can take Terry's knowledge, he's been in the SEC for what, 3? This will be his 3rd season. I know last year he was hurt, but he's still been in the SEC for 3 seasons. If we can take his knowledge and knowing that obviously he's not coming back next year and help him kind of, I want to say mold, but just, guide Joey Gatewood a little bit more, give him some of his tips and trades, because let's be honest, Terry, I thought Terry did from the first part of the season, Terry was making throws. The wide receivers were not making plays for Terry Wilson. He was throwing some dimes. Let's be honest. He had some numbers, and I saw him go through his progressions and everything like that. So he's made strides. Obviously, it doesn't help how many strides you make if your offensive coordinator is cuffed like Akon.
Terry, again, same kind of question to you moving forward.
I'm always Team Terry. You're never gonna see me not be Team Terry.
I'm rooting for. I want Terry to succeed. I want him to be.
I think we all do. We all would like to see Terry Wilson go out with a bang.
And the strangest thing is, if he doesn't play another snap, he will leave with a win in Gainesville, a win in Knoxville, and a win in Louisville. And most people are going to be like, meh, about what this kid has done. There was that SEC Network tweet as far as winning percentage. It was Mac Jones at Alabama. I'm maybe the Ole Miss quarterback. I can't remember. And Terry Wilson. Like, he's had a pretty good career. But, again, like we talk about Stoops, there's a lot of things you can legitimately criticize. But then you look back and you're like, he did accomplish a lot as well. So it's kind of the to quote Charles Dickens, the best of times, the worst of times. There's just a lot to have to unpack. So I don't know how they move forward for the rest of the year. I don't know what's going to make sense. Do you try to build for the future? This is a throwaway year. Everybody's going to a bowl game, so I just don't know how they kind of strategize for the rest of the year.
Speaking of bowl games, CBS projects Kentucky will face Texas in the Liberty Bowl. Yeah. So, but to your point, when you say everybody, a lot of people are going to be playing in bowl games. I guess at the same time too, Michelle, does Eddie Gran we said Terry's not coming back next year. Is Eddie Gran back next year?
I'm glad you're going first.
I don't even know how you begin to answer that.
Touche.
The biggest mistake Eddie ever that he's made in his coaching time at UK was when he told a joke about periods at the women's clinic. Ooh. That was that one was bad. I was there.
I didn't hear about that. No.
That was bad. And when nobody laughed, like I said, you got 300 women in a room.
Cricket.
And they all looked at him and he was like, okay. The next year he came out and he was like, well, we're just going to get right to it. I've learned my lesson not to tell jokes. So, he's a quick study. And like I said, it's like Jay said, he's brilliant offensive coordinator. It's somebody close to Stoops has got to bend his ear and say, dude, let your staff do their job. Let them do their job. What have you got to lose at this point by letting Eddie Gran call the shots offensively? You got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Freeing Eddie, hashtag free Eddie Gran, James. Even if you free him, does he have the players at the right skilled positions to pull it off?
Well, that's $1 million question. Even if Eddie Gran is allowed to call vertical passing routes, does he have the guys that can run vertical passing routes? I don't know. We've never really seen it, have we? We discussed about how they're not getting off the line and letting other defensive backs push them around, and the defensive backs can run with them step for step. I don't know if that is they're just that much slower than the opposing SEC defensive backs, or they're just not as athletic. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not seeing practice.
We've had Bouvier on the show, and we love Dave.
Yeah.
Dave's not the fastest and most talented, but that
he still
cat would. Yeah, he just knew. Is this Justin? Is this is this a a mindset, or is this something that is not been taught? Or I don't get it.
See, it goes back to the Lamar Thomas thing. If you're not getting to practice how you get off, how you create separation, how you break that route, if you don't practice that when it's game time,
that is very disturbing to hear as a Kentucky fan. I did not know that tweet, but to hear you guys tell it,
but if you look on the field, that to me seems to back up everything he said in that tweet.
Clearly,
they look in the wide receiver position. They look incompetent. And to Jay's point, he said that Gatewood missed a few throws down the field, and I'll take it back to 2007 when we had Dickie Lyons, we had Jacob Tammy, we had Keenan Burton, Stevie Johnson. When Dre used to throw the ball, there was we started running because we knew it was going to be caught. This year, any pass that leaves I don't care if I'm playing quarterback. I don't care if my 9-year-old daughter's playing quarterback or if Joe Montana is playing quarterback. The pass ain't getting caught. That's just, as an offensive lineman, that's just what's in my mind. And that goes to Michelle's point. Maybe, if you don't practice it on the practice field, it does not translate. There's not a switch that you flip going from practice, blocking bubble screens to, now we're going to run vertical. And now I need you to catch the ball against top SEC defenses. There's no flip or switch to flip, when it comes to that.
Let me switch balls from the football to the round one. Michelle.
Well, all right, guys. See you guys later.
That's you and Max, man. As soon as we start talking about that orange ball, you'll lose your mind. I'll go pee or
I got more
build the Legos.
More bourbon,
what's the story? Are we going to have a Big Blue Madness, Michelle? Do you know?
I have said from the beginning, there's just no way to pull that off. at least not with fans or anything. Right. Whatever kind of madness they have, they're going to be doing some serious thinking outside of the box. Jay said, they have some kind of video. I don't want necessarily a hype video. I'd rather have something maybe where they had a Q&A thing. If nothing else, you have that. You can record it. You can play that where fans could get in with different groups, something. But I look at this as a big opportunity because I think Big Blue Madness, the way it's been the last 3 or 4 years, it's stale. It's too much. You know exactly what's going to happen, exactly when it's going to happen. Okay, here's the women's team, and rah, rah, rah. Here comes the cheerleaders. Look at them do this. Here come the dancers. They're going to do a hip hop number. All right. Now, okay, time to bring out the basketball
Coach
team.
Mitchell's dance. Don't forget that.
Well, he did that before the women. Yeah.
Yeah.
We open with his dance, and then, here comes Coach Cal. He's going to let everybody that's ever played basketball for the University of Kentucky, we've invited you to come out here and stand in the middle of the floor. Everybody clapping. Okay. Here's some fancy lights and stuff. Now we're done. Bye. Go get out. And it
is a production.
It is a big production, but it's gotten very.
But that's a good point.
For those of us that attended back in the 80s and back in the Memorial days, it was fun. You actually got to see them play an actual scrimmage. They actually were trying to play a little bit of basketball.
Aren't they talking about doing this at Memorial?
Yeah.
Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which would pretty much just about eliminate any fans, really.
Right. Yeah, no fans.
Because if you're talking 15%, that's like 900 people.
Yeah.
That's why I have it.
James, anything to add there?
Well, they have so much recruiting momentum right now that, anything extra they can throw out there and do to keep the ball rolling, I think they're going to try, even if it is disgusting having to scale back Big Blue Bandits, because, they're getting dudes left and right. It kind of feels a little bit like, those first few years of Calipari is like somebody new, every week almost recruiting or committing. So, yeah, I hope they have it, and I hope they do mix it up a little bit. I went last year in person, and while it was fun, it was kind of like I was looking at my watch.
Part of the media, or is that fan?
Part of the media, yeah. And I was kind of looking at my watch like I got to drive an hour and a half, or however long it takes to get from Lexington to Louisville, not an hour and a half, but depending on the traffic, it could be. Yeah. So I was kind of like, all right, I know what's happening. So I cut out a little earlier than I usually do. So I would like to see something a little different, experiment without the fans, But if it's anything like the Kentucky offensive football team, they're not going to experiment at all. So,
do they have time to set up like memorial with how the NBA did it with the background of videos where fans could be part of it that way?
They can figure that out.
Yeah.
If anybody can, Cal can.
Yeah.
Because the basketball team definitely spares no expense.
No. We do. It's all the money we save on OCs goes straight into Cal's production budget.
All right. Before we let Jay and Michelle go, Jay, final thoughts. I mean, we're good still, right?
So no one's picking Kentucky over Bama. Nope, nobody.
Well, I think
no takers.
I'm good.
Let me ask my 9-year-old.
The next game, they don't play Saturday, so obviously they've got.
We win. We're not going to lose this week.
We're not going to lose. There you go.
Right.
And then Vanderbilt down the road. We'll talk Vanderbilt later.
Hey, my cat's picking the cats over Bama, Jay.
Yeah, I am too. Jerry Wilson plays. Throws for 300. 3 interceptions for scores. I'm going bold with this. Why not?
I eat dog shit if we beat Alabama.
That's even worse than cat food.
With chopsticks.
Videos or it didn't happen.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a soundbite right there, Jay.
Don't save this. This isn't saving, right? Can you edit that? Can you edit that part?
No, we're live. We are live. We are live. Share the pod. You guys do your show. You stream live every Thursday, correct, Jay?
Yeah, Michelle, go for it.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, we're 40 episodes into it. We're like really excited.
Congrats.
So yeah, we're on Thursdays. We generally around in the 8:30ish window. It all depends. If we have a guest needs to come earlier, we can usually accommodate that. Jay will tell you we're on every platform where you get good podcasts, even bad podcasts, but we're on all those. And you can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. It's a Rockin' KY Blue.
And find us in the comedy section.
In the comments.
Or this under the subheading, Jay is wrong.
Right. So yeah, I'm taking the cats over Bama. It is what it is. I'm gonna have fun with it. I get cussed out once a week on Twitter. So,
but do you get tested? We'll go once a week.
We'll go again. We'll go again and again.
I'm not talking COVID testing. I'm talking just sometimes.
Right. Oh yeah, I can't say that at work because they're like drug test this guy.
Check it. I didn't do this. This is what I was gonna do tonight. And this is Lord. Just this humor. This is what I was like.
True. Touche.
But then I was gonna like, oh shit, wrong one. And then I was like, we mean
pretty good.
Right.
I will say, as a player, the players love. They like I used to hate reading bad stuff about myself. I'll be honest, but now I'm the first one. You can ask James. Post game shows ether. And I feel like I'd rather be real, than But like you said, it's really nice.
So I gotta say one thing because I figured that you were going to be like snarky, Kevin. I don't know why I would think such a thing about you.
I call it humor, but go ahead.
You call it humor, but we know snark when we see snark. And during James's post game show the other night, you tweet, "Oh yeah, he's basically being ether, bringing the fire," and you go #Stones. Well, my thought is it doesn't take stones to pile on when a team's having a rough time. Matt Jones for years talked crap about Kentucky football when they were struggling. So if you want to say stones, then you got stones like Jones. Okay.
And we're out.
Stones came from his, it was actually
Stones like Jones is going to be my name.
Wow.
I want to say the #Stones part was something James said. I think you made a comment about Stoops not having the stones, right?
Well, there's a really funny clip of a fan yelling after a game, Stoops, you got no stones. You suck and any grand sucks too. It's hilarious. So we play that a lot just because it's funny. So that's where I got that. Yeah.
But his thing, like I said, when you read his tweet, it was like doing like it took all these stones to say whatever you were saying on the radio, and I'm like, no, that's actually pretty easy pickings, and that's why I came up with the Stones Like Jones, which I was very proud of that line. Thank you very much.
That's a good one. Hashtag Stones Like Jones. But I will add, you said the fact that you said not to pile on. That makes it sound like I'm taking it's personal. It's to me. It's just. It sounds. I mean, like from the player's perspective, they already know. That they're going to feel bad enough. It's not like they go out there wanting to lose. They want to have a chance to win. Yeah, they can't fix the coaching staff. True. That's fair. But it does feel like piling on to them because a lot of fans, and you know this, especially on call-in shows, when they're not saying "far Stoops," they're trashing the individual players. Yeah, Ruffalo went through some crap. I'm going out on a limb. Is that anything that this podcast is not? I don't have current players listening to it. It's not catered to that audience. It's catered to the fan base. Whatever their view is, that's who I'm talking about. It's nothing personal. It's about, it's not about them, how they are with their families or outside of the lines. It's what they're doing in between the lines. And when I'm critical, what seems to be critical of a player, it's performance. It has nothing to do with them personally or whatever. So
I like both sides. And I was washing laundry. Great.
That's going to be the hashtag.
I literally walked my dog 3 times.
I was washing laundry.
I will say, as an ex-player, I get where Michelle's coming from. But when you come into the SEC, that's part. When you sign that letter of intent in little bitty small print, it says you're going to get shit on by your fan base.
I was going to say you got to have Stones Like Jones.
No, they might now. It's been revamped since I played a long time ago. But I could only imagine. One time I'm going to go and listen to next time Alabama loses, I would love to listen to theirs. I bet you they talking about ether.
Brutal.
Yes, I can imagine it. Like you say, you as a college athlete, you have
to be the equivalent of UK basketball when men's
ball
basketball.
Ball Twitter. Do I have to say anything else?
I can imagine.
Oh my! After the Kentucky game.
Oh yes, it's terrible. So I get it, but I would much rather somebody be real with me. If I know I play like shit, tell me I play like shit because I already know it. That's fine. These aren't you gotta almost. These are, I know they're the unpaid college athlete, but this is a job. And you got to remember, most of these guys, yes, they care about winning, but their thing is their stats and how they get to the next level. Right. So
but the biggest problem we got right now is a coaching staff preventing them from performing at their best. And that is what makes everything so difficult right now.
We all agree on that.
I got to know, though, has anyone ever told you played like shit, though?
Yes, I got it. Oh, let me tell you.
They're crazy.
Let me tell you this. Funny story, real quick.
I know all about all those false starts.
Yes, there it is. So my wife is upstairs, and I'm sure she might be watching. I don't know. She might be watching. But in 2007, against, I want to say it was Mississippi State or somebody, I had about 3 or 4 false starts. I was a sophomore at the time, and Commonwealth Stadium, this was back when we had 75,000 or 70,000. Every single one that was dressed in blue booed my big ass. I swear to you. I was booed in Commonwealth Stadium. So yes, it is perfectly fine. Wow. Ether those kids because I got ethered. Live by the whole damn stadium.
But it's 3 false starts, man.
I mean, yeah. And I knew it. I just looked up at the jumbotron, threw my hands up, and like, damn.
On the jumbo. Right. There I go. That's hilarious. Wow. And your wife to this day, I mean, she doesn't criticize the false starts now, does she?
Every time. All right. This is just in the dark. Absolutely. Every time I get booed.
Rockin' Kentucky Blue, Michelle, Jay, 2 of my favorite people. Good people.
It's coming on.
What do you got going this Thursday's your next show?
It's a bye week, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah.
I haven't written up what we're doing yet.
Okay.
I make it up on
Nothing
Tuesdays.
to promote yet. Okay, just saying.
Other than just listening to
Just listen. All right.
our
We just
witty
promote real talk.
repartee.
Real talk, always. That's
Real
what
talk.
we promote.
Gotcha. With it.
And I'm going to predict Kentucky over Bama just for shits and giggles.
Love it.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll be eating dog shit too. So hey.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's that.
A lot of that going around.
Hey, thanks for having us, though, man.
It's been fun.
Love you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Well,
It completes our podcast tour for the night.
the full circle, guys. All right. Have a good night, guys.
See you later.
All right. Michelle and Jay, good people there.
Absolutely.
It was tame, though. I was snarky.
Too snarky.
I'm too snarky.
I've heard that a lot. Snark.
Yeah.
Is that a sports talk radio type thing?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's used a lot in the old sports talk radio circles. Absolutely. And to your point about being booed and criticized and stuff. I mean, anytime you're out in public, whether it be a sports person or a politician or on TV, radio, whatever, you're going to get your fair share of criticisms and people that just don't like you and you're going to say awful, nasty, mean, ugly things about you, even though they've never met you before. And that's something that I've had to come to terms with and understand, being now kind of more in the public eye. And it does suck, but you've got to develop a thick skin. And I can imagine some of those college athletes have a lot thicker skin than I do, because people do say awful things that don't even know, like you said, don't even know you personally or whatever. But like Justin said, it's kind of comes with
the idiots that feel like they have the right to slide into a kid's DM or to do that.
At them on Twitter.
Good God. I mean,
yeah.
Before we go, I'm going to real quick takeaways. I'll start with you, James. What was your takeaway from the rest of the SEC Saturday?
I mean, Dan Mullen is maybe the biggest idiot in the SEC. Like, that guy's a fool.
Douchebag.
He should have been fined $125,000, not just $25,000. And the sad thing is at the end of the day, he seemed to relish in it because he had the Darth Vader mask on during the post-game Zoom call. And I never really had any feelings about Dan Mullen when he was at Mississippi State. I kind of respected him because he brought that program, which was not great, to a number one ranking at one point. And you produced a player
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you produced a player like Dak Prescott. I was like, oh, Dan Mullen's kind of cool, and he just showed his true colors over the weekend. And I mean, there's a new villain in the SEC, ladies and gentlemen. His name's Dan Mullen, and he coaches at Gainesville.
Darth Mullen. But go, Terry. You're the rest of the SEC.
I mean, the rest of the SEC is pretty, by our standards, pretty pedestrian. But Dan Mullen again. James took my whole thing. You look at these Florida coaches, and outside of Ron Zook, the last 4 of them really seem like jerks. The only problem is
snarky jerks.
I mean,
there it is.
I mean, from Steve Spurrier to Urban Meyer to Dan Mullen, I don't know what it is. The only thing is, you can be as big a jerk as you want to, but you got to win.
Yeah,
that's the difference. Is you can do whatever you want to as long as you're winning, but as soon as the winning stops. But the SEC, again, it's Alabama and everybody else. I tell you what, I'm really shocked about is Mississippi State.
Oh yeah,
if you had bought Mississippi State stock after the LSU game, I mean,
a lot of people did.
Yeah,
but then LSU got their ass handed to them this past week.
Right. Yeah. But Mississippi State, I mean, 2 points against Kentucky, 0. I mean, come on. That I don't think they saw that coming when they brought the old pirate down there.
Justin, rest of the SEC.
The rest of the SEC, I will say, you'll talk about Dan Mullen. I know he's a jerk, but I'll tell you what, as a player, you like coaches like that. I'm not gonna lie. You like those guys that are a little fiery, a little edgy. Coach Brooks never did anything Dan Mullen-is, but he was a little fiery, a little edgy. You know, he was willing to fight. If you're willing to fight for your players, you know, you got their respect. They're going to play for you. Look, they came out and mauled Missouri in the second half. But yeah, like you said, you know, to piggyback off of Terry, just kind of ho-hum. I mean, it's everybody's beating everybody but Alabama. Alabama, you can name your score just about against anybody in the SEC.
Right.
Roll Tide, RTR, and it's like no fun. Who can beat them? I don't know. Who legitimately who can beat them in the SEC? And then they're gonna go walk to the playoffs and then meet Clemson or meet Ohio State. And I don't know. It's so weird. I don't know. I don't even feel. It kind of feels kind of just not real-ish, just the way that everything's kind of playing out. But I guess the extended SEC schedule is kind of, I won't say flamed it out, but just made it a little bit more everybody beating up everybody, which, you know, just more here. Duh.
James, outside the SEC nationally, Clemson, Trevor Lawrence, they struggled, but they won. He's out again for the Notre Dame game.
He'll be out for Notre Dame, yeah. We talked to Dennis Dodd today at CBS, and he's really high on Clemson's freshman quarterback. Seemed to struggle a little bit in the beginning of the game, but he came on later, and I expect him to beat Notre Dame because I think you don't have Trevor Lawrence against Boston College. It's Boston College. Who cares? They got caught with their pants down for a little while, and then they woke up and said, "Uh-oh, we better start playing." They won't come into Notre Dame thinking that way. They're going to come to Notre Dame thinking this is our number one roadblock to winning the ACC, and I think they're going to put it on Notre Dame because I don't think a lot about Notre Dame at all, especially the way they played against Louisville. I don't think Clemson has any worries. They could be with the freshman quarterback, Dabo Swinney's son coming back and playing quarterback again in garbage time. It don't matter. They have too many athletes. They're too strong. They're too physical. They're too fast. And they're too deep. It ain't happening for Notre Dame.
Justin, big picture college football.
Big picture. Who is ready for Pac-12 football? Not me.
Oh, no.
Not me. Goodness gracious. Keep them on the West Coast. I could give a rat's ass about them. I don't care. They're not worth my time. Keep them in COVID. They all got COVID that can't play. Get them off my TV.
Terry, the rest of the nation.
The big picture, college football, there's a huge separation between the top 3 or 4 teams and literally everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
It is become a situation where you've got the haves, like you just know at the beginning of the season, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, maybe Georgia, maybe there's another team that sneaks in, but it's just the gap is so wide that it's almost, you know, if it was college basketball, you'd have your 3 Final Four teams already chosen before the season even starts.
Right.
And because you look at the SEC, we talk about it's Alabama, everybody else. Clemson could basically go with their second team and win the ACC. Ohio State, you know, their biggest threat is Michigan, and
trash.
Okay, you know, if Ohio State can just stay the course, and we've completely dismissed the Pac-10, Pac-12, excuse me, and the Big 12 as even being national players. So it's just, you know, it's just a weird situation.
All right, final shot, final thought of the night. Terry, I'm going to stay with you. Give me your final take.
Final take, as I said.
Anything. Doesn't have to be sports. The snow in Des Moines.
The snow in Iowa. Although the one thing I want to do when the COVID it gets cured is at the Iowa Hawkeye home games at Kinnick Stadium, they built a children's stadium right overlooking the field. And
that's right, yeah.
And between the first and second quarters,
they
stop what they're doing, and the whole stadium waves to the kids.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Fucking beautiful.
The officials do it. The opposing team, like everybody stops and waves. The kids are at the windows, and you know, people that follow me on Twitter, I have not been thinking that playing football is a good idea with all this. I'm not going to go down that road, but I watched that on Saturday, and of course, I've talked about it with my soon-to-be Mrs. TB, and it is a beautiful thing to see. Like everything stops. like people come from the concession stands, they wave at the kids, and there's that moment.
No one's being selfish. They're thinking about someone else. They're showing compassion. Something that we're all as a whole lacking.
Yeah, and they were playing Northwestern. It was like a 10-7 game at that point. And Northwestern's head coach he's whacking his guys on the shoulder pads to turn and wave. And it's a beautiful, beautiful moment. I've talked to people that have been there. They're like, it is very, very special for those kids. So definitely something when I go there, I would like to experience.
Very cool. Very cool. Justin, final shot.
Damn it, I was trying to think of one. There wasn't football.
No dog poop.
And I do every time. So my parting shot is my 9-year-old daughter down here playing Roblox until 1 o'clock in the morning because she doesn't have to go to NTI tomorrow.
Oh, that's true.
Can I? My 11-year-old has her own YouTube Roblox channel. She has 125 subsibers, and when we sit down,
126 after tonight.
Yeah, hey,
11.
Hey, TB, let me know what it is. I'll make sure my daughter follows.
And I don't get it, but she loves it. She's talking to me about her business model. She's like, if you hit a certain other subscribers and views, you can monetize this. And I'm like,
look at you. Go ahead.
Like, this is much better than a lemonade stand. She is all in on this Roblox. So I'll shoot
Girl Scout cookies.
Hey, the Girl Scout cookies. We hustle Girl Scout cookies now.
Okay.
Oh yeah. We do that now.
I'm a Call of Duty. My daughter, she'll sit down here. We'll sit down here till 12 o'clock, and she'll sleep till 1 o'clock tomorrow. But I'll play Call of Duty. That's what I do, and I'm very terrible at it.
Very terrible. Stree, Brown Daddy, your final shot.
My final shot, I guess, is just I saw something funny on Justin's Facebook page where he was. I think it was a video of Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air dancing around the house, decorating for Christmas, and he's like,
"Do you know those moves? Can you do that, Justin?"
No, absolutely not.
I just second that sentiment. I'm ready for the holidays. I'm ready for Christmas. I'm ready for some spirit of goodwill, some cheer, something positive, like what Terry was just discussing with the children in Iowa, and just ready to move past some of this ugliness and negativity, and just getting a positive spirit back into our public consciousness. So,
does that happen on Wednesday?
What's that?
This good spirit, the camaraderie, the compassion.
Oh, hell no! It don't matter.
My point is after Tuesday. Yeah.
No, it don't matter who wins. It's going to be ugly. So we're talking about decorating the house Saturday. So we at least waited till after Halloween, but just try to spread a little.
You're one of those before Thanksgiving, James.
Hey man,
what I mean, you're saying you're decorating the house for Thanksgiving? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, we're decorating the house for Christmas.
I know. That's no giant turkey on your.
We're still gonna have our turkey and everything for Thanksgiving, but man, we're just ready to have fun. And
I meant an inflatable turkey in your front yard. You're not going to do that?
No. Okay. No, we've got those little flashing lights. The Christmas lights.
All right, Clark. Griswold.
Yeah. 30 grand on the front yard. That's a big enough.
Yeah. Santa Claus will pass over our house if we do that.
You got cold coming.
Like, oh no. Keep going, Rudolph.
No game this Saturday. It's a bye week. So
I won't get to see James this weekend. Dang,
I know, dude. But you won't be missing me too much when you got that bourbon at the country club.
Justin Palooza, as you said.
That's during Vandy.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. All right, we'll get you all
lubed up,
primed.
Yeah,
lubed up.
Yeah, we'll get you primed.
All right, guys. Terry, Justin, James, fun night. I think we made peace with our friends from Rocket.
Thank you, Terry.
Yeah.
Always.
All right, my friends. Good stuff, and we'll same bat channel next Monday. So stay tuned for all that good stuff.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Night.